Vehicles like the Dracula, Helsing, Annihilator, and Smasher completely steal the spotlight when it comes to Tier 7 and, let's say, really strong vehicles. However, what's weird is that Tier 7 is not only home to some ridiculously strong premiums and collectors, but as well, actually some really solid and even sometimes overpowered tech tree tanks. Vehicles like the Black Prince, which has 3,000 damage per minute, and after Wargaming buffed its top speed and still left the speed boost on it, yeah, I'll definitely say the Black Prince is one of the more busted Tier 7s out there. You've also got the Tiger 1 with an incredibly accurate gun, really good penetration, DPM, and frontal armor that's great, plus mobility, the T-29, the Jagdpanther. There are so many strong Tier 7s out there. It's actually insane. Even the Panther, which is another tech tree medium, I would rank this as one of the best Tier 7 tech trees in the game. In fact, tier for tier wise, probably one of the better medium tanks. You got the LTTB, the SU-152, the Cheeto SPG, the T-25AT. The list goes on and on. There are so many incredible Tier 7s that people really tend to forget about. However, the one we're specifically going to be talking about in today's video is this, the T-34-1. This is the Tier 7 Chinese tech tree medium tank. The last time I made a video featuring the T-34-1 was over a year ago, and I figured there's a lot of new faces that are on the channel. Thank you very much for subscribing, by the way. But as well, some of you just might have never pulled out this vehicle or cared to watch the video. So in that case, I'm making another and showcasing just again why this is one of my favorite Tier 7s in the game and what makes it such an incredibly influential tank. So let's start off with the statistics. Now, armor-wise, it's good and bad. The turret is the real savior. It's 170 millimeters on the front, and it's all rounded and angled, which means, yeah, that's actually quite strong. We'll break into it in just a moment. But the hull, yeah, it's based off of a T-34, so it's got 64 mils of frontal armor, 47 on the side, and 42 on the rear. Yeah, the armor doesn't get very far on the overall exposed hull, but it is quite flat compared to the normal T-34, which means that you can work your 6 degrees of gun depression a little bit better on terrain. It has very nice standard pen at 170, and the premium pen is 250, which is also plenty to cut through enemy opponents. 2,000 damage per minute is pretty solid, judging that this vehicle carries a 100 millimeter with 280 damage per shot. Yeah, you heard that right, 2,000 DPM, and I'm running Cali. I mean, the DPM on this vehicle is about the same as every Tier 8 medium that carries a 100 millimeter. The aiming time is pretty good actually at 3.5 seconds, although dispersion can get a bit iffy at 0.380. This vehicle is a really jack of all trades. It's got the Alpha, it's got great mobility going 50 kilometers per hour forward with a power to weight ratio of 19, and even a pretty good reverse speed of 20. It can kind of do it all. And the turret armor is just the final bit that makes it so strong. You might think that the turret doesn't look insane here until you realize that this is premium ammunition. This is what it looks like with standard from a 45 TP. At Tier 7, I would say the average amount of pen is 170, and the turret at weakest is about 190, and that's with AP ammunition and all of the normalization added in there. So it actually has quite a strong turret, and if you're using this vehicle hull down and you're even loading premium, yeah, that's a pretty thick turret. I mean, the edges of the cheeks go upwards of 235 to an auto ricochet from any shells, and the only spot you can penetrate is the 200 millimeter thick cheeks. But again, this is a Tier 7 medium with really beefy alpha. You don't expect a Tier 7 medium to be this strong on the turret armor, plus having great hull down capabilities, and an alpha that absolutely slaps opponents with good DPM and even pretty okay aiming time. There's no downside. So I've talked the talk, but can the tank do the walk? Because that is the real question here. Is the T-34-1 actually capable of standing up against really strong Tier 7s and even Tier 8 mediums? Well, the good news is, against Tier 8 mediums, if you're up against a vehicle like a Russian 100mm, you have the same alpha. And in most cases, you actually have better turret armor. So because of that, you can work all down, you can bounce their standard ammunition, and even premium shells will have quite a hard time penetrating you. And while that's going on, you can tap them back for 280. It's great. You also have Tier 8 levels of penetration, so it's not like you're left behind. Honestly, when I play the T-34-1, I feel like I'm just a Tier 8 medium shoved down at Tier 7 with a little bit less hit points. There's really no downside to it. So here we are in our first battle. And this is the kind of battle I like to see, a Tier 6-1. Port Bay is a really nice map if the team knows what they're doing. It's pretty simple to understand this map. All you do is go towards base C. Voila, there you go. That's really all you need as a battle plan. I'm gonna try and cross, but it depends what my team does. You never know. They could just go over towards base A. I've seen it happen many times, and you guys have probably seen it happen many times in your battles. Now, as I did say, the T-34-1 is quite a squished vehicle. Yep, there you go. Look at that. I called it. It's like reading a book. You can just tell when your team's gonna suck, and at Tier 6, when teams don't understand how to play this game, yeah, your team kinda sucks. But as I was saying, you'll notice this is quite a bit less tall than the T-34, and that is very true. It's much, much lower down, which actually gives it a better camouflage rating, and as well gives it much better hull down capabilities because you expose less of your hull and more of your turret. Now, because my team is quite useless, I'm expecting the enemy team to be going towards base C, so I'm just going to sit here, I'm going to capture the base, and that's my plan, because I don't really know what else I'm going to plan on doing in this game. At least if I'm going to win, I'll try and add it up a little bit on base capture, as I talked about in yesterday's video on the Object 260. I don't know if I trust myself enough to get in the B, though, because I do have an Annihilator, an SU-100Y, and any of those tanks really getting shells into me can quite easily ruin what is a pretty okay game. So what I'm going to do is apparently find an SU-100 off to the side, who missed me it looks like, so let's aim in on his tank, and boop, there you go. Nice tap for 263. That clothesline was actually kind of confusing me there. But good news is we can get another shell into the SU-100. There you go, nice tap for 317. That is just, again, where the alpha feels so nice. So we got the Annihilator spotted all the way across the map, and trying to think of what I want to do. Well, the main tank I want to clear is either the Annihilator or the SU-100Y. Both have massive alpha, and they also got pretty good penetration, so those are the kind of tanks that scare me. The Annihilator actually doesn't worry me too much as long as I can sit hull down against it, but yeah, it's got 8 degrees, so we're just going to plan on pushing over here. I'm expecting the SU-100Y to be spotted at least sometime soon, but in the meantime, we've got the AT-8, so let's get a shell into the rear of his tank for 277, thank you very much. And let's reload again. You can see the reload really isn't bad for this vehicle. There you go, another nice tap, 350 max roll. But we do have the M41 Bulldog on me, and yeah, that also hurt quite a bit. I'm trying to think of what I want to do. I'm going to get a shell, honestly, into that Bulldog. I think it'll be easier if I shoot the tank that has more DPM, although a little worried about vehicles like that KV-2 as well. Ooh, I don't really want to shoot that AT right now. I kind of want to deal with more threatening tanks. We've also got like the SU-100Y. I really want to get a shell into this KV-2, so that's what we're going to do. There you go, nice tap into his tank for 300, and thankfully that Annihilator kind of ignored us, which gave us a bit of more life, so I'm just going to drive away as quickly as I can. Oh boy, I shouldn't have driven into that. That was my fault. But yeah, I'm going to try and get out of here. Hopefully that Annihilator shoots at the SU-100Y and not me. That's just kind of how the food chain works, I guess, right? Oop, there's an SU-100Y. Aiming and fire. Another nice shot in. Bit of a low roll, but I mean, it's still 200 damage. In any other medium, that would be a really, really nice roll, but for this tank, that's considered a low roll. Oh, that was unfortunate. There's nothing else to really say about that. I just got kind of robbed on my damage there. Good news is we got that VK. 278 damage. He hits me back for 157. We are absolutely demolishing the enemy team's hit points. We are able to get out some really nice shots here, although that one wasn't really nice, if I'm going to be totally honest. Let's reload again. 3 more seconds. 2, 1, and maybe we can get a shell into the Annihilator. Yeah, there you go. 300 damage tap. Obviously, the Annihilator didn't enjoy that all too much. Sadly, my SU-100Y did bounce his shell, but what I'm going to try and do is get a big ol' shot into the Bulldog, and there you go, the Ram finished him off. Then we got the Annihilator over here. The Annihilator, not super worried about, because we do have enough hit points to tank all of his shells, and, well, there you go. This was just an incredible battle. 3,400 damage. We were able to win not only on the damage, but as well with the supremacy points from the base I captured. With that, I didn't even get a mastery. We got a first class. I mean, you just saw how strong the tank performs. We were able to deal with really strong opponents, use the alpha, outtrade, and win easily. The tank is just such an amazing beast. I normally like to do 2 helpings of gameplay on the channel, but because the battle went so well, it really showcased everything I had in mind about the T-34-1. It's got the alpha, it's got plenty of DPM in Tier 7, it's got really good mobility, it's much lower down than the T-34, which means you can actually use the 6 degrees of gun depression, and the hull down capabilities, plus the turret armor. There's nothing else I would want of a Tier 7 medium. This thing has it all. And because of that, yeah, as I had said before, I do think this is one of the best Tier 7s out there, that for some some reason people just completely underrate. I would highly suggest to either grind this vehicle and try it out for yourself, or if you've already ground the WZ121, get your hands on it and try it out, because this is a hidden gem that you will definitely thank me for playing later. And what I will say is, if you've never ground this vehicle before, not only do you get to play this gem, but then you go to the T34-2, which is also a great vehicle, and you can grind up to the 121, which is one of the best tier 10 mediums in the game right now. So yeah, I mean, it's a great line overall, and you can thank me later for sharing this wonderful tier 7 into your garage. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.